Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti alla seconda puntata del Caffè del Futuro, Campus FIDE Ravenna 2025. Ovviamente parliamo quest'anno di intelligenza artificiale come nell'argomento che più ci sta appassionando e come ieri abbiamo ospitato una personalità nazionale che ci ha guidato un po' in questo mondo, oggi siamo felicissimi di ospitare un'autorità internazionale in materia di intelligenza artificiale, Marjana Prifti Skenduli, docente universitaria in Albania, fondatrice della rete AI Albania, consulente di molti governi del Consiglio d'Europa e di importanti aziende, nonché della stessa Open AI, che come sapete è uno dei soggetti più impegnati nello sviluppo di questi sistemi. Marianna parla benissimo italiano, però questa intervista la faremo in inglese anche perché il profilo internazionale di questa materia credo che ben si sposi anche con l'utilizzo della lingua madre di tutti i sistemi informatici. Allora, grazie tantissimo Mariana e benvenuta alla FIDE.
Grazie Emanuele, io parlerò in inglese come tu hai detto perché anche il linguaggio tecnico a volte viene più naturale quando parliamo di tecnologia e di intelligenza artificiale. Sono veramente felice di essere ospite tuo oggi.
Però posso svelare che abbiamo registrato anche un'intervista in lingua italiana un pochino più lunga, in modo tale che sui nostri siti, poi per magari coloro i quali non conoscono bene l'inglese, potremmo mettere anche la versione italiana. Quindi dobbiamo dirti due volte grazie, non una sola. Tutti parlano di intelligenza artificiale, però abbiamo bisogno di capire da una esperta, veramente dal punto di vista anche informatico, che cos'è e come funziona l'intelligenza artificiale.
Okay, it's one of those questions that you can face every day from different audiences, different people, and in different aspects of life. Artificial intelligence, as we experience it today, is far more than a technology. It's mostly a socio-technical ecosystem, and it's more and more all about intelligence. We are floated with terminologies such as artificial intelligence, general artificial intelligence, hybrid intelligence, and superhuman intelligence, and all this stuff is basically filling the agendas and the titles of the portals and media. But in principle, what I prefer mostly as a term is hybrid intelligence, because that's a term that basically captures all the essence in which a machine basically intertwines with creativity, intuition, but also with the values of the human mind, which is so precious. So, AI is first and foremost an extension of our intelligence, right? It's not something mystical or something that goes beyond the post human era. It's just an amplification of our capacity to detect patterns and to generate hypotheses. There are plenty of members of the scientific community who talk about artificial intelligence as if it was statistics and mathematics reinvented. And in principle, they are quite right, because what we do basically behind the scenes when we deal with artificial intelligence or when we train machine learning models is basically feeding a lot of information to those called deep neural networks, right? Which in principle are models that are inspired by the human mind and different forms of living forms from the world that is all around us. So it's exactly the world, the universe, the different forms of life that inspire, in principle, most of the breakthroughs in technology and more specifically in artificial intelligence. So, these systems, it's also very important to clarify, they do not understand in the human sense. So, in principle, even talking about artificial intelligence is not scientifically correct. It's just a different form of intelligence, but there is no parallel to intelligence as we know it as humans. So there is no consciousness, there is no intentionally, and there is no, let's say, human intuition into it. But in principle, AI is probabilistic and it lacks the semantic aspect that we associate to intelligence nowadays. And from another important angle, it's very, very critical to not leave machines alone. In a way, we need actually to make sure that humans are there present in the loop and that they add this flavor of intuition and the human flavor that they lack by being there present, monitoring their output, refining their output, but also controlling that this output is close to our values as humanity. So, the human in the loop is a concept that goes beyond the technical term, right? It's about a person that interprets and assigns meaning to AI systems, that keeps ethical and social compass steady. And it's not about taking AI as a artificial mind and outsourcing totally our processes, our mental drudgery to the AI, but it's mostly nowadays about educating to the public and to the masses that AI is there as a tool that would work very well as a teammate with us, as a co pilot. That's why the hybrid intelligence as a concept encompasses three important aspects. The aspect of being able to co-live with technology and AI, co-create with AI as if it was a friend or a team member. And in this process, we actually grow as humans of the postmodern era, and co-evolve with technology, which is something that we cannot actually reverse. So it's a reality. Technology is there, AI is there to actually be embraced, to be understood correctly, and to be also used in a way that allows humans to actually challenge themselves, instead of just using AI to replace our mundane or tiring or repetitive tasks. Use AI to eventually challenge yourself and to challenge the limits of intelligence and creativity as we know it today. So, in that sense, AI has become actually a technology that will bring and has already brought, but will bring even more challenges along with the opportunities. So, the very fine line there and the trick that we have to understand and to make sure everyone is aware of is exactly to be able to use AI not as a machine that thinks on its own, but to look at AI as a mirror that reflects the quality of our thinking, and eventually to use AI to build exactly the sort of society that we've always been demanding for, and that reflects our best values and our best learnings throughout the years and the evolution.
Grazie, ci hai fatto capire molto bene come funziona e come dobbiamo rapportarci a questo strumento. Chi magari si è perso qualche parola del nostro pubblico troverà l'intervista in italiano dove spiegherai molto nella nostra lingua questi concetti. Nello specifico della scuola e della scuola cattolica in particolare, ci dici
Mhm.
proprio in un flash quali opportunità vedi e dal 1° settembre 2025 noi in concreto cosa possiamo fare per salire su questo treno?
Mhm. Beh, there are plenty of opportunities out there, as there are a lot of limitations. I'll start with the opportunities that I see as immediate, let's say, opportunities with an immediate return on investment. It's important actually to not ignore AI. It's there and students are using it. Most of the teachers are left behind, and we can't ignore this. Most of the schools, starting from the new academic year, have to be open about the existence of AI and to accept that it's part of their processes, it's part of their life, it's part of their objectives as well. And the best thing would be actually to talk openly about AI and to start embracing and introducing it in open dialogues between students, between decision makers, but also between teachers, so that we can really evaluate what are the plus and minuses in this process. Well, we're all aware of three important aspects nowadays in schools, whether we are asked to think as parents, as teachers, or as decision makers as part of the education system. We're aware that nowadays students are different. They have different requirements, different expectations from the schooling system. But in the meantime, we are also aware that we lack mostly time, personalization, but also actionable data that create a lot of opportunities to innovate in our schools. We've also missed an important aspect. Throughout the years, in the last 100 years, schools have been good at retaining their classical, conventional system, which by all means is very appreciated. And we have been able, as humankind, to actually build a lot of historical data, tradition, and also prove that knowledge and wisdom are the key to the future of the humanity. But we have not realized that in the last 100 years at least, information has changed a lot. And it has been enriched with various forms of presence. So instead of just transmitting information in a written or oral presentation form, nowadays there is a vast majority and a very rich, let's say, pool of information that young generation is exchanging, companies are exchanging, society is producing, and we haven't been able to actually take a look at this very, very rich corpus of information and pay attention at how this new forms of information and the way we are exchanging information, how they can eventually invent or at least enrich and update our educational system, not change it drastically, but make it actually listen to the new forms of information and enrich that so that it comes closer to our needs as a society. So in that sense, beginning of this academic year, it would be good to talk, first of all, openly about the technology. Secondly, to eventually start putting time and resources apart to educate with the fundamental basis, teachers, decision makers in the school system, but also students, so that they all get to a sort of acceptable AI literacy and understanding. And the third important action that could be taken is to start eventually piloting and experimenting with AI tools while keeping always a close eye to the ethical and to the humanistic values in the educational context. But it has to start now, with a lot of awareness, a lot of criticism as well, but a lot of experimentation in the meantime, so that all the actors in the educational context get to have their own perception and realizations and observations in this process that has no return back.
Grazie. Avrei voluto farti tante domande, ma tu sei stata così brava che solo in queste prime due già ci hai dato praticamente i compiti per i prossimi anni. Noi ti ringraziamo tantissimo per questa doppia intervista, metteremo tutti i materiali a disposizione, ma speriamo che con questi strumenti di lavoro anche a distanza possiamo creare anche un canale di comunicazione stabile per lavorare in team tra scuole cattoliche italiane, scuole albanesi e istituzioni internazionali. Veramente grazie e sicuramente a presto. Ciao Mariana.
Grazie, grazie a voi.